I was looking for a way to make myself stand out. I am screaming into the social media universe, talking about something that very few people could ever qualify for and very few people know about. Even professionals in the industry don't know about it. You guys help hone it in to a message that resonates with people.
Welcome to Be Bold Branding, where we discuss the power of differentiating yourself through your own unique story and standout personal brand. How do you take a complicated profession and simplify the language and approach in a way that revolutionizes the industry? Well, today's guest is Jodie Lamb. She's a structured settlement specialist as well as a client, and she's changing the industry. Even if you know what structured settlements are, you can imagine that it's not always easy to express what you do and the life-changing benefits of getting it right. Today, Jodie's sharing how she got started in this space and how her specific focus helps her clients safeguard their financial and future security.
Jody, welcome to Be Bold Branding.
Thank you, Michael and Tanya. So great to be here.
Yeah, but so great to have you on. Especially because we're going to be talking about what you do, which the background is I had a meeting with Jody last week where she explained to me what she did. And I asked her specifically, are you like this person or like this? She's like, no, I'm not. I'm the antithesis of that. So I was in the same boat as a lot of the listeners and a lot of people that you work with before you work with them, right? Most people never heard of structured settlements or they don't really even know what that is. You want to give us like a overview and then how we'll get into how you're upending that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Michael, you're not alone. In fact, most people don't know what a structured settlement is because most people don't ever qualify to receive them. Now, you and I had the conversation where you thought a structured settlement might have been someone that you heard on the radio or the late night TV jingle. Yeah, they're doing the opposite of what we're doing. They're reinvesting, they're purchasing those future payments. What we do, we create financial security. We safeguard settlements. We work with injured parties who are settling their personal injury cases at time of settlement to give them options to maximize their recovery from their settlement and make sure that the money's there for their future needs. And we do so in a way that can't be duplicated in traditional retail investment products with no tax ever on interest, dividends, and capital gains.
And that's a mouthful, but but I understood all of that.
Yeah, for sure.
That's because you're a pro now. You guys have been working with me for a while. You had to, there's a little learning curve involved, but you're smart. You caught on.
Yeah. Yes, we have been educated by Jodie Lamb now. So tell us, Jodie, how did you end up in this space?
Well, I ended up in structured settlements by what I thought was just random chance. My undergraduate degree was a finance with a concentration in insurance because I really loved my one professor from New York Life. He was a leadership executive member there at the company, and he taught at our university in Ohio and enjoyed his classes. He was fun. The subject matter was interesting. So I ended up with a concentration in insurance as a finance major. Out of college, I went into financial planning. I really thought that was going to be where my passion was going to rely, helping people, identifying what they needed for their future and how to get them there. Unfortunately, right out of college, talking about retirement planning with my parents' friends, I lacked a little credibility and a truly real world experience to be able to come in with a sense of authority and to be able to have those conversations. So I shifted gears. I respected that I needed to get some more experience, started working behind the scenes, started working with insurance companies, learning the investment products. But when 9/11 happened, job opportunities kind of dried up, and I wanted more challenge. So I changed from the financial side of the company to the insurance side of the company, and I started to handle personal injury case because, after all, I absolutely have been in a position where I've been involved in a car accident. I was injured. I had to negotiate my settlement. My experience was a learning opportunity. I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't understand the process. But from that experience, I'm like, I can help people learn this process to be less unaware, to help them make more educated decisions rather than trying to push a settlement on them that wasn't going to be in their best interest. So I started working insurance claims. So I went from the financial side to the insurance side, handling personal injury cases. And that is where I discovered structured settlements. And it's like the stars came into alignment. I have a combination of my financial, my insurance, my education, my personal experience, all come into alignment to be able to offer opportunities at time of settlement to safeguard settlements for years to come. And for people that can't return to work, may have a lifetime of medical expenses, looking to protect money for children. These are options that can't be duplicated outside the settlement. So being able to introduce this opportunity during the negotiations and give people the information so that they can make an educated decision, that's how I found my passion. That's how everything came in alignment. It wasn't by strategic design. It really just was, I was open to opportunities as they became available to continue to grow and learn myself. And that's my passion. I love being able to learn and pass that information along to other people so that they can make the decisions that's best for them.
Well, one thing that was astonishing to me when we first started working with you is this was an educational experience for us. We joke about it, but it totally was. Like, my eyes are opened now. And I remember the statistic that I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's something like 80% of settlements are gone within 5 years. And then I look on Netflix and there's all these, lottery people that are winning these big amounts and now they're destitute, right? So talk a little bit about that, because there's real pain in that area, that if you don't do these things at a certain time, like before settlement, you don't have the option to do some of the things that you help your clients with, right?
Absolutely. And it's not hard to make that correlation to the real life. Like you said, the lottery horror stories, we've all seen those documentaries. I went from nothing to having everything. And then I was worse off because of it, because people don't have money management skills or know how to preserve the money, or even when they have all the sources available to them, they still manage to lose the money. And you can see that in our professional athletes. The number of bankruptcies that are filed by professional football players, basketball players, it's astronomical. It's not much different than that of a personal injury case. People are using money to right a wrong in their past. Money can't solve your problems, but when they do get a settlement, they want to buy things. They feel like they deserve that retribution, and it makes them feel good. But that settlement is finite, it's limited, and once it's gone, you can't go back and get more. So you're right, Tanya, 80% of settlements are gone within the first 5 years. And within the first 3 months, 20% are totally gone. Wow. And this is a concern because people are needing this money for maintaining their quality of life. They can't return back to work, or maybe they can't return to the same type of work that they used to do. So the money is there to help them continue with their life, take care of their family, meet their needs. But if they don't have a way to preserve it, if they don't have means in place to protect it, then it quickly dissipates. And it's not to say individuals are bad with money always. And some people are very generous. When you win the lottery, people are strategic to hide the fact that they win the lottery because they know that people are going to come out of the woodwork. It's not that big of a stretch to understand that happens also with personal injury cases. So when people are approached after their settlement saying, hey, I've got this investment, or can you help me out with this? They're like, that money's been put aside for my future needs. I don't have access to it, but it's there to make sure that I have, my surgery when I need it, or make sure that I'm be able to make my mortgage payment, or to be there when I retire. Because again, these opportunities are extremely customizable at the time of settlement. We can do multiple benefit streams, any durations, deferrals. There's no early 459.5 penalty or benefits that have to start within a certain timeline with the personal injury cases. And we really can tailor a payment to meet individual customized needs. So I make magic with money. I really can do anything I want at the time of settlement in cooperation, in facilitation of needs-based negotiations, so that at the time of settlement, they have peace of mind that going forward, their needs are going to be taken care of.
Yeah, that's awesome, Joe. And I gotta you're like a quintessential BrandFace person anyway, because like when you came to us, you already sort of knew some of the questions because this is such a niche industry. I would think I've heard of structured settlements before, but again, I thought it was just some jingle at late night, that some dude was going to give you like 30 cents on the dollar for what somebody else owed you or something. But yeah, you really illuminated the fact that that's not the case, and like where you fall inside of that scenario is very important for this preservation, right? And so you already have a niche market, you know where to go for it, but then you have an explanation problem a little bit because, like you said, I'm standing at a party, how do I like very briefly tell everybody what I do in a way that is concise enough that they understand it? So when you came to us, it was perfect for what BrandFace formula does. That's from our side. What is it like on your side when you decided to come into BrandFace? What were you looking to achieve?
I was looking for a way to make myself stand out. I am screaming into the social media universe, talking about something that very few people could ever qualify for and very few people know about. Even professionals in the industry don't know about it. We talk about financial planners. They don't have access to be able to sell structured settlements. And I've been through the Series 667 life health annuity licenses. This conversation about structured settlements is a very tiny footnote and a very large volume of information that needs to be consumed, learned, and applied. So within our own industry, within the financial world, very few people know about it. So I needed to be able to not only speak to what I already know, but we're growing. We're introducing concepts to additional parties outside of the personal injury space. If you don't have a personal injury case, let's say it's employment litigation case where it's wrongful termination or sexual harassment or some sort of other non-personal injury case that's being negotiated, those individuals are going to be hit in their first year with the highest tax bracket, because typically those are going to be taxable settlements. So to be able to mitigate that tax liability is something that we can help people with. But how do I talk to them? How do I reach them? They don't know who I am. They don't know what I do. And so I'm going to be one of the first people talking about structured installment sales, the sale of business, the sale of real estate, being able to mitigate capital gains and net investment taxes via the use of structured payments. So year one, you're not hit at the highest tax bracket. You can stretch it out over time. You can turn your business or the sale of your property into retirement income. That's what I needed BrandFace for, is to help differentiate me in a world where I felt so tiny in such a tiny little niche market. I needed something to stand out. And you guys have really done a great job at capturing what I do and just presenting that in a way that is being noticed.
Well, thank you for that, first of all. And that's all because of you, because you're the one we're focusing on. And your personality makes such a huge difference in your branding, Jody. It's about being able to articulate what you do and the importance of it to people who don't even realize it yet. That is one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is, does this person look like somebody I could trust? Is this person the know, like, and trust factor, right? Is that there? And that comes across so genuinely in everything that was created when we were building your brand. So one of the things that was created when we were doing this right off the bat was a brand identifier. And that is kind of like, what do you want to be known for? And yours is safeguard your settlement. So what were your thoughts when we first brought that identifier to you?
Well, it was right up a line of what I was already thinking, but in a way that was a little bit more captivating. So I had originally thought like settlement solutions or structure your future. And that's just a little vague. You guys helped hone it in to a message that resonates with people.
Like what you're hearing? Hit that subscribe button and learn how you can change how you're seen and charge what you're worth.
We want to make sure that the settlements are going to be there in the future. And what better way than to put it into a safe, kind of like visualize the safeguarding of that money for the future, and against predators, against anyone who has ill intent, against our own self. I mean, we all have a propensity for liking nice
Absolutely.
things. Let's be
Sure.
honest. But you know, it's tempting when you see your bank account suddenly with an influx of money. You're like, oh, I can buy this and I can buy that. But it will quickly dissipate, and that's how the statistics come into play. And it leaves people potentially more likely to go on government benefits, which transfers the burden on to taxpayers. It leaves people much like the lottery syndrome, where they're worse off than they were before, and they've already been through enough. So when dealing with people that have had claims for personal injury or employment litigation cases, we really want to help provide this opportunity to set their next steps, their future in a better financial position than they were before they settled their case. So we safeguard it, and you guys did a great job of bringing that full circle. So we can structure your future, but we safeguard your settlement.
Yep.
I love it.
It says a lot in a very short amount of time. What was your biggest fear as you started down your branding journey? Did you have any trepidation?
For me, it was time. Like, I knew I needed to do this, and I knew that if I had enough time, I probably could pull it off. But let's be honest, I'm a finance major. I deal with numbers. I'm not a marketing person, and I don't have those resources, the skills, the information that you guys specialize in. So when we don't have that information, like my good buddy Mike Asher says, we outsource that stuff, right? we can't be experts in everything. We definitely have to engage a team around us to support us, because that's how we grow. If I try to do everything myself, I am not going to grow. I'm holding myself back, because sure, I've been doing it by myself, but could I do it better? Well, that's what BrandFace did. They took me to the next level, and that was one of my biggest things. How was I going to do this? It came down to time. You guys made it easy. You made it simple. You guys kept coming to me, and you were very patient at waiting for me, because I'm helping all these amazing people with their personal settlements and their claims, and that's a priority to me. And so I kept tabling my business, my branding, because I was taking care of my clients, and hiring you guys was the next step into being able to help them further to the next degree, to be able to get my message out there. And thank you for your patience in respect of my time, but time was my biggest concern, because I'm busy all the time.
Yeah. It is with a lot of our clients. And
Sure
it just goes back to I remember I had this broker when I first got started in the real estate business, and I was young, I'm early 20s. I've got this house, it needs painting. So I'm going to paint my house. And I tell him I'm going to paint my house. And he's like, "You're going to paint your house?" And I'm like, "Yeah, well, I can paint like that." And he goes, "Listen, son, why don't you go sell real estate and pay somebody to paint your house that paints houses every day?" And it was like the light bulb came on, because I'm going to be out there for 2 weeks. I'm going to be, the paint is going to be everywhere, all over me, the kids, the yard, the driveway. Some pro's going to come in there in 3 days and knock it out. Yeah, I got to cut the check for it. But, I could be selling real estate to cut the check. And so Grandpa said you can't beat a person at their own game, and I think there's so much power in that. In the world that we live in, I think it demands it these days for things like that. I mean, I wouldn't dare, if I ever found myself in a need for a structured settlement, I know who I'm calling, right? No ifs, ands, and buts about it. I just already have, Jodie Lamb on speed dial for that. And it's very important, because you know what you're doing in that space. So let the pro get it done. Yeah.
Jody, what was the hardest part of the branding journey for you? We don't want to just focus on the glitter here and say, oh, everything was wonderful. And when some people look back and say, okay, well, the hardest part for me was like the photo shoot, or the hardest part for me was getting the story out. What was that for you?
I mean, there was a couple. I mean, the photo shoot was hard for me, because I don't look at myself in a way that's, I don't know. I deal with some self-esteem issues. We'll just leave it at that. So to be able to go in front of a camera and pose in the middle of a hotel with a photographer just to get those pictures, it was challenging for me because it takes me out of my comfort space. But when we get out of our comfort zone, that's when the magic can happen. That's when we grow. That's when we find out who we can really be, and we kind of like it. Another thing that was challenging for me is letting go of the control. So I am a very detail-oriented individual, type A personality. Like, I like it my way, and I like to do it myself. So Michael, I can relate to your story about wanting to paint. And then I start to paint my bathroom, and then I get mad because there's like a tiny little drip mark. And then so I focus on that drip mark, and I just get so upset at myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have hired this out, right? For me, letting go of control was another hard part, but you guys were patient with me again. And you gave me options. So I did feel like I had some control. And not only that the options were like pick 1, 2, or 3, it's like, which do you like? And now that's the direction we're going to head into. And we continue to refine it. So although I wanted to have the control to do it all myself, because that's my nature, being able to to delegate that, and then having your help along that way, made me feel like I did have that control. So you guys took my stress and still managed to make it a positive. So it still ended up with glitter on it. It just took a little bit longer for me to see that, and you guys were patient. So I appreciate your tolerance of my demanding schedule and perfectionistic eye for detail.
Well, that makes us feel good.
Yes, it does.
It's a big compliment to us because we understand. And that is the reason that Tanya has designed the program the way she has, is because we deal with a lot of type A personalities.
You're not the only one.
That's usually your visionaries and you're right. You're people that are plowing the ground and building their companies and stuff like that. And you got to work with that, because that is very valuable. It's
at a higher level, and it makes us feel really good to hear you say those kind things, because when you're working with people at a higher level, you have to perform higher.
Yeah,
absolutely. And it's always something that you want those in any clients that like challenge any part of the process. It's like, okay, can we do this? Can we do this? Yeah, absolutely. Right. And explaining here's why I wouldn't recommend this, but why this could absolutely work. And having you say, I totally get it now. It was really, really a great experience on this end as well. Fantastic experience.
It's humbling for someone who is an expert in what I do to not be an expert in other things. And so in the ways that I have to teach other people and walk them through the process, I saw that mirrored back from the BrandFace, from you, from the entire team supporting this change. But I suspect all your clients are like this. I mean, who else wouldn't? Passionate about what we do, and we want to get that word out, and we really care enough about an image and the brand that we're putting out to support not only our individual interests, but the companies that we work for. We want it to be amazing. So why would we not want to have the best possible outcome? And we need to be receptive to that feedback, because again, we're outsourcing the stuff that we don't do well ourselves. If we did it well, we wouldn't need your services.
So true.
Right.
Absolutely.
What did you think was the easiest part of the process?
Hiring you guys. Hands down.
Another good answer, Jody.
That's a great answer.
Not a good answer.
Everybody else found it that easy. Right?
Good.
I mean,
we're done. It's a wrap.
We had a conversation, and I already knew that I needed it. I just didn't know who to contact. And I didn't have anybody that I knew. I was introduced through a friend to you guys. I had seen you on LinkedIn, and although I'd seen you on LinkedIn, I just hadn't had that connection. But that first conversation, that spark ignited, and I knew it was the right thing to do. I knew that I needed this. I knew it was the right people. It was the right time. It was the right decision. And not everybody's in the right space when they need at the right time to have that instantaneous, like that was the easy call. Sometimes you need to think about it for a while. Sometimes you need to think about what the consequence of not doing it will be. Mm-hmm. Because sure, it's never a good time. I promise you, I have about 40 emails that have probably accumulated in the last 15 minutes that I need to get to. But we need to prioritize what needs to be done so that we can be better in the future. And you guys nailed it. I mean, from that first conversation, that was the easiest part of this decision. In this process was that first decision.
That's fantastic. Well, a lot of people out there do have doubts, right? And what would you say to someone who's considering being a brand face, but they're just sitting there thinking, I don't know about this?
Follow your gut. You know you need it. If you're already thinking that you need to be talking to people about modifying your brand, and you have that first conversation, and if they're not saying, wow, you're knocking it off. You're doing great. You don't need our services. Of course, I mean, I seriously doubt that that's the conversation you aim for. But the reality of it is, if you're having the initial conversations talking about improving your brand, it needs to be done. And so you need to connect with people that you trust and that you feel like hear you and understand you. Talking about structured settlements is not an easy conversation. Tanya, I don't know how you did it on the first call. I think you did a phenomenal job doing as much research as you can to have an intelligent conversation about a subject matter that most have never even heard about, let alone can speak intelligently about. And you really nailed it on that first call. I really felt like I was being heard. And that's really important when you're hiring a company to take you to the next level. If you're not being heard and your voice isn't resonating and your message isn't going to get through, you're spinning your wheels. You've got to find the people that you connect with. If you're on the fence about doing it and you like the people, you like the results that you've seen that they can do, trust your gut. I mean, because waiting is just going to delay the process. And who doesn't want to wait, or who wants to wait to be great? I mean, we want to, we're having these conversations because we're ready to take it to the next level. You just got to pull the plug and do it. Do hard things. I do hard things.
That's right.
I like it.
I love it. I love it.
But I make it simple, and you guys make it simple. And that was the key to the process.
Well, we're glad that you had that experience with us. That is our goal every time, because we work, like she said, we work with high-end individuals that their time is very precious, but yet they need this branding to be face forward, and we try to make that as simple as possible for them.
So it's a personal thing to them.
Do what they do every day.
Mm-hmm. It goes beyond professional. It's a very personal thing. It's a personal brand. It's how you show up in the world, not just how you show up for your company.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that is, I talk to my kids, I've got teenagers, I'm constantly reminding them, what you put out on the internet is going to stay on the internet. So if you're not being genuine, authentic, sweet, and kind, and respected, and respectable, that's going to follow you. And so partnering with people that you trust to make sure that your image is pristine, that your image is as you intend it to go out, is important, because yes, it's very personal. Your personal brand complements your professional brand, and together you differentiate yourself from the crowd. And to be able to do that and be able to achieve your mission, your passion, your goal, and to be successful at that, what more could you ask for? Why would you wait? Of course you're going to hire BrandFace.
I love it.
Yeah, you're hired, Jody.
You're hired.
You're hired.
You ever think about a career change?
That's right.
Jody,
no, I'm going to stick with structured settlements. Thank you.
I don't blame you.
I'm going to leave that all to you guys. That's why I hired y'all. I don't need to be trying to pull that off myself.
Especially with the new things that are coming for you, and we don't have time to get into this today. But there will
be a round two.
There's going to be a round two with Jodie Lamb, because I really want, when she's ready for us to talk about this next phase that she's working towards, and she's really at the cutting edge of that. But Jody, we like to ask our listeners, if you had the freedom to visit, if our listeners had the freedom to visit anywhere in the world, and money didn't matter, place didn't matter, time didn't matter, where would you tell them to visit and why?
I would take you all back to the Maldives. I was there in 2018 and completely unplugged. No internet, no phones, because you're on the opposite side of the world. Totally be able to disconnect from all things social media, online work, and recharge your batteries. The location was pristine. To be able to get to know the locals and the people working there, and respect that these islands are going to be underwater in a very short period of time. To be able to experience that was a gift. And to be able to do that and recharge my batteries and reconnect with who I was and refocus on my purpose and my mission was impactful to me, and I think everyone should have that experience. It definitely was a once in a lifetime opportunity for me, and I would happily welcome all my friends and family back for that experience, as well as anyone else who's listening, because there's a lot that comes back to being humbled by a different culture, a different environment, and respect for nature that won't be there in the future. So yeah, that was my little piece. Just calm, quiet. I love sand between my toes and the sun on my skin. It was a great experience.
I've already bought the ticket.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Hey,
I
the
really feel like
food
I
was
want to now.
phenomenal.
that's a
Yes.
good one too. We have heard that one.
That's
good
a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Okay.
definitely on my bucket list. I actually researched it about 15 years ago to do it. And in, I can't remember now where I chose to go, Italy or somewhere else instead. But it's, yeah, you just brought that back up. I might need to do a little Googling here.
Here we come.
I know, right?
All
Yeah,
right.
let me know.
That's a
We'll
good
book our
one.
flights, because I would go back in a heartbeat. In fact, my sister went with me, and she was looking for herself a husband while we were out there. She's like, I don't want to go home.
Did she find one?
I know. I gotta know.
No, because then I'd be visiting more often, right? I would
Yeah,
have
right.
a reason to go back.
Well, tell her she needs to go back and keep up the surge,
That's
right?
right. Yeah.
So final statement, Jody, just tell everybody where people can connect with you and learn more.
Well, I'm big on social media, especially on LinkedIn. Jodie Lamb. We do have all my contact information there, and would love to speak to anybody who has questions about structured settlements or structured installment sales, or even starting to figure out who I need to talk to. So we speak with attorneys, claim individuals, injured parties, CPAs, real estate, financial advisors, the whole yard. Most people don't understand about this opportunity. So please reach out. Let me know in a direct message that you heard me on BrandFace here, and we'll continue the dialogue. And would love to get to know you all better.
Thank you, Jody. Thank you so much for taking time with us, and most especially for choosing us.
Well, thank you for all your help. It's been invaluable, and I'm excited to launch the new branding starting Q1.
Ready to change how you're seen and charge what you're worth? If you're not getting enough opportunities to meet with ideal customers, or the prospects you're meeting with just aren't ideal, it's most likely your brand that's holding you back. So if you're a coach, consultant, or expert who is on the rise, you need our ultimate guide to a freedom-based brand. Download it free now at brandfaceguide.com.